found that other psalm in there that I really liked.
Oh, wait a minute.
Where they include in this book these extra psalms for unveiling. But I don't see why I couldn't do some of these.
Go ahead with
Are we starting?
23rd, whatever.
You want to do 23rd?
Yeah, whatever.
Fine.
Go ahead.
Are we starting now? Or are we still
Yes,
on?
we're starting now.
Okay. Mizmor David, Adonai roi lo etzor, binodeshe abitzaini, al mei menuchot yenaleini, nashi shoveve, Yanecheni v'magle tzadech leman shemo. Kamek yeled b'getz al mavet, lo yirarach yata imadi. Shivtecha u'mishantecha, ema yenachamuni. Taroch lefanai shulchan neged zorai, tishanta v'Hashem eroshi, chosi revayav, ach tov v'chesed yirefuni kol yemei chayai, ושבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים. The 23rd Psalm. Adonai is my shepherd, I shall not want, giving me repose in green meadows, leading me beside the still waters to revive my spirit, guiding me on the right path, for that is God's essence. Though I walk through a valley of the shadow of death, I fear no harm, for you are with me. Your staff and your rod comfort me. You prepare a banquet for me in the presence of my foes. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and kindness shall be my portion all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of Adonai forever.
The great and beautiful Jewish legend has it that the world exists by reason of 36 gentle people who live in withdrawn areas, who are not known to the great multitudes, and who themselves are unconscious of the fact that they are among those who, by reason of their tenderness, love of tradition and Judaism, sustain the entire world. I have often felt that our dear friend Nate belonged to this rare group of individuals. He came to shul to pray, and he will let you know that he came to shul to pray. He didn't just come in to daven. He'll be the first here. No matter how snow was outside, how difficult, he managed to drive his Prius and be here early. Sometimes I came and he was still in his car waiting for the doors to be open. It is for me and for many of our members impossible to forget his questions, his inquisitive mind, his comments, his self-answer questions, and all the Yiddish that he spoke at services. Rabbi, where's the Rebbitzin? I haven't seen the Rebbitzin. Where's the Rebbitzin? Like, I almost got worried about my own wife. But it was out of his love. Where's the Kinderlach? Where's the Kinderlach? Where's your children? And when we saw and joined in the Kiddush on Shabbat, he will say, Rabbi, the food is too cold. It's too cold, but it's good. But it's good. Always a comment, and wonderful to join him at the Schnapps table to have a l'chaim, whether a weekday or a Shabbat. He was there, and we were saying, well, if this is what it takes to be 96, we'll just keep drinking. I mean, here's the example. How delighted he was when my in-laws came from South America, and they were able to communicate in Yiddish. And they will even pinpoint what part of the Yiddish world they were coming from based on the pronunciation of certain words. Nate sat with my in-laws during the high holidays and always near them. Then one day he came with the most delicious soup recipe possible. So I said, how do you know it's a good soup? He said, well, it's excellent soup. I made it myself. And I made a bunch of soup, and it's fantastic. Here's the recipe. Tell your wife to make it for you. Didn't give me a chance. I have just to tell the Rebbitzin, this is the soup we're going to make tonight, because Nate Teichman told me to do it. It's delicious, he will say. I was able to read from the membership folder last night and to discover that he and Alice of blessed memory had joined the synagogue in December of 1980. So it makes about 40 years that he had been a member at Temple Bethel. He wrote in his member application update some years after, I will be 81 years old at the end of this month. I have been driving a school bus for 19 years. School bus as a part-time job to make ends meet. I will be retiring from this job in June of 2005, and I will have only Social Security and a small pension to live on. He will say that. He will repeatedly say, Rabbi, I'm on a fixed income. I say, Nate, I'm not coming to ask you for money. I'm just delighted that you're here. But at the same time, he said to me not long ago when we were about to inaugurate this new beautiful sanctuary, he said, Rabbi, I will give you $100 if I get an aliyah on the first Shabbat. The first Shabbat that you are open back again. And I said, hey, you don't have to give me the money. I'll be honored to give you the aliyah, that's for sure. So we saw him coming up here over our special ramp, and everybody was just so moved to see him doing that. That brought tears to our eyes. I pray very often here at the temple, and I couldn't but notice the way Nate pray and daven. And every time we got to the second beracha before the Shema, he will say, Nemen betzitzit. I know you don't like it, but I adopted that as a Yiddish to say, we take the fringes, the tzitziot of our talitot, and put them together for the Shema. I have adopted that statement. I pray that way almost every day using that same term. Just want you to know about the influence that he has had in the senior rabbi here at Temple Bethel. He would speak about other rabbis. He will make comments. He will say, Rabbi Hyman, and then pause. And of course, we're not going to say what he said. He will speak about his B'nai Israel synagogue. When I came, he said, Rabbi, I'm going to give you, would you like a menorah from B'nai Israel? I said, absolutely. And then he said, Rabbi, there's nothing there. I went to retrieve it. There was nothing there. So he was very concerned and sorry that temple had totally disappeared. Our children were B'nai Mitzvah some years ago here at Temple Bethel. And on Thursday mornings, we have the wonderful opportunity to come to the Torah and put on tefillin. And we were downstairs, and usually we have 3 aliyot. On both occasions, Nate helped himself with one of the aliyot. Out of the blue, I couldn't stop him. He just went. He wanted to be part of our simcha. And that's the way we took it. Silvana and I were moved because he took it upon himself to be part of our wonderful celebration. He many times spoke Yiddish to me for a long time, and I think he saw my face that I just managed some words, but not a lot. And he had mercy on me, and then he laughed and translated what he had to say. He could get angry very easily. He would be upset, Rabbi hasn't called me. And I left, messages to my assistants that I had to call him immediately and all that. And he will be angry with me for about 2 seconds. And then he will laugh and say, Rabbi, you're the best. Rabbi, you're the best. I mean, always with that very complimentary. I remember how many times he said in Mishaberach a prayer for healing for your beloved mother who passed away some years ago. It was just moving to see him, and I saw your mother, of blessed memory, one Pesach. So Elka Bas Chaiki says to me, "This is the woman I'm saying Mishaberach for." It was very cute to see them both together. I understand they were together married for 64 years. It's an incredible accomplishment, beautiful memories. From Nate's family, we can say that one of Nate's favorite things to do was to walk up to the bridge over the canal and to watch the 4th of July parade. It seemed like he always knew half the people in the parade. He was so friendly. After the parade, he would go to the park to listen to the music and to greet friends. Often he would take his grandchildren to the movies, but he would have to stop and buy candy for them and sneak it into the theater. I can see him doing that. Other times, Nate and Alice would take the grandchildren apple picking. They would take along a small paring knife so they could eat the apples fresh off the trees. How kind. He loved taking care of his yard. The lawn always had to be the perfect height. He had a woodworking shop where he made things, including some bird houses that were well used by the birds. He had a vegetable garden that would get a little bigger every year, but much to his dismay, he fed a lot of deer from that garden and he will complain in shul about the deer. We'll hear about that here. He loved to cook, especially the latkes matzo ball soup and this soup recipe that he gave me. When he made latkes, he would make extra that he would give away platefuls to many people. Nate and Alice traveled many places: Ohio, Hawaii, Las Vegas, California, and 2 trips to Israel. Nate loved his martini, and he had a couple a week. So he was doing schnapps with scotch here, martinis at home. That may be way he had such a long life. Absolutely. We said here that it was the alcohol that gave him the long life. He was just a fantastic human being. I said to you on the phone that he represents just a world that will never exist again. And we were so lucky to have that connection to that world through Nate. Nate represented to us the old Yiddish world of people coming to shul, people that observe mitzvot, people whose world was more than a half and 3/4 just about Judaism and revolving around it. And Nate, at the same time, looked remarkable, updated for his age. Because of his driving, because of his attitude, we couldn't believe that he was the age of 96. When I asked him once about his birthday, he immediately responded just one shot. Something is not very politically correct, but he said to me, 2 days after Yoshki, and meaning 2 days after Jesus, meaning the 27th of December. And I will never forget that, because it came out, not with malice, it came out from the world that he belonged. And I was just privileged to hear it. Impossible to forget. We will remember him for the wonderful love that he had for the temple and for Judaism and for synagogues in general and rabbis included. He lived a life connected to mitzvot. He himself was a davener. He himself felt close to the tradition. And I understand that things were not always perfect for him, and we understand that life is not always fair, but we are just required to make the best of it and to accept our share. I want you to know that we feel here that you as a family did everything for him, that he had a good life, and during the most difficult last moments of his human existence, you were there for him. We were far away. He was I'm not sure, upset or saddened that he couldn't make it to shul. We just heard before we began that he was able to see services, to watch services through the iPad that you provided for him, and he found a connection to the high holidays and to Temple Bethel. So I want just to recognize you, family, for the wonderful care you took of your parents and of Nate in the last few months of his existence. Now is the time for Naftali Barav Yosef to finally be at peace. And despite all the things that he had to face, I think he knew during his life that he was attached to you and to our tradition and to his community, and we certainly appreciate that. To Rochelle, to Bradley, to Ellen and Jay, to Sarah Lynn, Richard, to Andrea and Christopher, to Emma, to Ava, to Ezra, to Audrey, to Cara, to Emily, and to Abigail. We say to you that we were honored to have your wonderful relative in our community. The rabbis have taught, live your life that when you are dead, you will be missed. So live that loved ones may find in you an inspiration to goodness. So live that you will not be forgotten. I believe that Naphtali ben Rav Yosef lived by these Jewish principles, putting his family together, imparting them with energy, with guidance, with example, and with love. So now we say to you, dear Nate, farewell. Go to the realm beyond our vision, because the love you have enkindled in us with your love remains to brighten the darkness, and it will ease the loneliness your departing has brought to us. We know not what lies beyond, but we despair not. For here among us, in minds awakened by yours, in spirits uplifted by yours, in hearts gentled by yours, you live and you shall continue to live, and thus are we assured of your immortality. To us who love and admire Nate, and to his grieving family, may these reflections bring a measure of consolation. Tehi nishmato tzrura betzor chaim. May the soul of Naphtali bar Rav Yosef, the Chaiki, be bound up in the bonds of life eternal. And let us say all together, Amen. Going to ask you to kindly rise for the memorial prayer, and then we'll conclude with the recitation of Mourner's Kaddish. Please rise.
שוכן במרומים, אמצא מנוחה נכונה תחת כנפי השכינה, ומעלות קדושים וטהורים, כזוהר הרקיע מזהירים, לנשמת נפתלי בר רב יוסף חייקי, שלח לעולמו, בגן עדן תהיה מנוחתו. אנא בעל הרחמים, הסתירהו בסר כנפיך לעולמים, וצרור בצרור החיים את נשמתו. אדוני הוא נחלתו, וינוח בשלום על משכבו, ונאמר אמן.
I want the family to know that the name of Nathan A. Teichman will be read at services every morning and every evening, beginning tonight for a whole month, as we recite Kaddish to help his soul gain strength and hide as he meets his Creator. So I want now Rochelle and Ellen to join me in the recitation of the Mourner's Kaddish. As you are the mourners, if you pick up the book, the blue book in front of you, and you open that book on page 12. On page 12, you can join me in the recitation of Mourner's Kaddish. Page 12. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה.
Amen.
בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי. בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל. בעגלה ובזמן קריב אמרו אמן.
Amen.
יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיא. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא. ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו. לאלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה. תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירם בעלמא ואמרו אמן.
Amen.
יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה. וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.
Amen.
Amen.
העושה שלום מברומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.
Amen.